Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tai Chi class. I'm going to start today with a reading from the Tao Te Ching. This translation there's a lot of different translations. This one is by John H. MacDonald. And I just wanted to start with a little something to ponder. So this is from page 85 on this book. Without opening your door, you can know the whole world. Without looking out of your window, you can understand the way of the Tao. The more knowledge you seek, the less you will understand. The master understands without leaving, sees clearly without looking, accomplishes much without doing anything. One who seeks knowledge learns something new every day. One who seeks the Tao unlearns something new every day. Less and less remains until you arrive at non-action. When you arrive at non-action, nothing will be left undone. Mastery of the world is achieved by letting things take their natural course. You cannot master the world by changing the natural way. It's just a little reading to ponder there before we start class. Let's start with some warm-ups. Start with some arm circles. To the side. Protect your head, spiral to the side, palm up. Protect your head, spiral to the side, palm up. This one, reach back, stretch your hands. Let me tip my a bit. Circle back, stretch your fingers out like this. Pulse your hand a couple of times, just stretching through your fingers and your thumb. Opening, letting all those tendons relax a little bit, stretch them out a little bit. Stretch through your neck, look away. Look back at your hand. Stretch your neck, look away. Look back at your hand, same thing. Opening your palm. Look away. Some wrist circles. Just checking my chat. Oh, can you hear me? You having trouble hearing me?
Just turn it up just a little.
Okay. All right, let's try that. Okay, shoulders, you can circle each shoulder back one at a time. Just do a little side movement, just a little, you can widen your stance a little bit and just let your arms hang loose and swing side to side. It's okay if your hands just kind of loosely relax and make contact with your body. And you can lift your heel up on each side as you shift from foot to foot. Give yourself a little back massage, rub above your kidney area here. Just kind of circle your fists. Nice little back massage, loosening things up. Go ahead and make a bow stance. And push your pelvis kind of forward from that back hip, making some hip circles and stretching through your hip flexors. Remember to relax and breathe during warm-ups. Keep your body loose and relaxed. Switch sides, bow stance. Circle your pelvis from the back forward. Adjust your feet if you need to make things a little bit more comfortable for yourself. You can do hands at your sides, whatever you need to do for balance, or hands on your hips. Whatever works for you. Let's just do a little bit of shifting, rocking back and forth. Again, arms loose, shoulders relaxed. Just a little bit of swaying. You can lift your feet or leave them in place. Again, whatever feels comfortable for you. Is this volume okay now? Can you thumbs up, or that's better? Okay, good. All right, let's make a wide stance and do a little stretch down and forward. And then what I like to do is I like to kind of walk my hands from foot to foot. So if I'm kind of stretching through this leg, I'll just sort of walk my hands across and stretch through the other leg. Walk my hands from my right foot. Walk my hands to the left foot. Walk my hands back to the right. Walk my hands back to the left, and just do that a couple more times. Getting a good stretch through each leg. When you're ready, bend your knees and come up slowly. Hands on your hips. Circle the top of your body. Bending at your waist. Do a few circles clockwise, 5 or 6. Switch directions. All right, and a little shake out your hands. Take a few deep, smooth, relaxed breaths, and just imagine sinking your energy, calming yourself down from the top of your head all the way down through your feet. And let's walk through the standing meditation from last week, just briefly. So first posture, feet are about shoulder width. Remember to tuck your pelvis under, your rib cage down so that your core is holding you up. And the first posture, your hands are just loose and relaxed at your sides. There's a little energy in your elbows. You're thinking about alignment so that you're not fighting gravity. Your spine is neutral, straight, relaxed. And just finding kind of your balance and a posture that you can hold for a while comfortably. Relax your gaze. Second hand position. Move forward a little bit so you can see. Second hand position, palms are up, right about navel height. Fingertips aren't touching, but maybe just a few centimeters apart. So your fingers are kind of lined up like this. hands relaxed, pelvis tucked under. And one thing to keep in mind while we're moving through forms, while we're moving through the standing meditation and also practicing postures, one thing you can try to do is keep in mind your neck and your jaw position and relax your jaw. And one thing that helps with this is to keep the tongue, the tip of your tongue on, just behind your teeth on the roof of your mouth. If you feel with your tongue, there's a part that's bumpy. And then there's a part that's smooth as you go farther back. You don't need to have your tongue way up on the roof of your mouth in the smooth area, but just kind of lightly resting, not pressing against your teeth, but lift the tip of your tongue up. Maybe just a little bit behind your teeth and resting on that bumpy part of the roof of your mouth. That's called the soft palate. Third hand position. This is about heart height, and your hands can be a little bit farther apart this time. Moving your hands up. Remember to keep your shoulders relaxed. And remember to tuck your pelvis under and keep your rib cage down so that your core is engaged. So for this one, you can kind of imagine that you're framing your forehead a little bit, right? So there's this kind of space between your eyes and your forehead. You can imagine you're framing that with your hands a little bit, but then your hands are relaxed a little farther out here. If this feels difficult or you're feeling exhausted, remember to check, keep your shoulders down. Squeeze your shoulder blades together in your back slightly. Just a slight energy keeping your shoulder blades squeezed together. Pelvis under, rib cage down. That's going to help you hold this position. Relax your arms slowly down. Now your hands are palm down, about waist height or hip height. Remember to relax your shoulders. There's a little energy in your elbows. This time, arms are relaxed, but your palms face forward. You can relax, circle your wrists, move your ankles a little bit. Shake out your hands a little bit if you want to. Just kind of release whatever energy we moved through. Okay, I just want to ask, is there anything that you guys want to work on in particular today? Any of the postures that we have gone over so far? Any particular posture? Go ahead.
I'm not having so much particular problem with the postures, but more of like remembering to keep my tailbone tucked in.
Okay, so what's the feeling for you, or what feels difficult, or just remembering?
I think I keep wanting to bend my knees instead of just tucking it.
Okay.
So I keep like rocking back and forth, bending my knees, and then I forget that I'm supposed to keep my knees like more like straight and then the tailbone tucked in.
No, this is good. So there's a lot to think about, right? When we're learning all the parts and pieces, and we're having, so I talk about relaxation and alignment, and checking your alignment from your feet up to your head, and then checking your relaxation from your head down. And it is a constant mental process, especially when we're first learning these new things, remembering. So while we're trying to relax and meditate, we're actually having all this in our mind going, are my hips tucked under? Is my rib cage down? Are my knees overbent? Are my knees locked? It's actually, that's really normal. So, and that's just good. And that's just like that you're going through these checkpoints naturally, right? You're kind of trying to work and find, where does your body want to be in space? Is that right? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, definitely. It's just like a matter of like, I have to remember to keep in alignment because it's either one thing or the other. So I either have my hips tucked and I don't have my shoulders where they're supposed to be, or I
Yep.
have my shoulders where they're supposed to be, but not my hips.
So relax. It doesn't have to be perfect, and just keep going through that little mental checklist. Okay. So, maybe let's do this. Which part is it, your hips tucked under, that feels most difficult to remember? Yeah. Okay. Let's do some cloud hands. So, and kind of as we're going through class, you guys just have the liberty to make all these little fine-tuning adjustments. You're following me or listening, but let's do a lot of cloud hands and just practice checking that as we're going through the postures, checking feet, knees, hips, ribs, shoulders, neck, right? Just kind of from the bottom up, checking where am I in space. And this is a really good conversation to have, because it can feel really awkward, and it can feel sort of frustrating to try to go through all this stuff, but it's really normal just to repeat to yourself as you're going through postures, kind of these little check-ins. Am I, how's my stance? Are my feet kind of, shoulder width? Are my knees too bent? Are my knees too straight? personally for me, just here's a tip. Personally for me, because of the muscles that are out of balance for me, I actually, to get into a neutral posture, I do actually need to push back to where I almost feel like I'm locking my knees, but they're not. There's just a little bit more that I would do to actually lock, but I'm not quite there. Again, you can practice in the mirror too. If you have a full length mirror, or if you have a bathroom mirror, you can practice doing this from the side and just experiment with what feels like neutral for you. I've talked about that shoulder position, right? So if we tend to be like this, or whatever we try to do, we're usually, most of us are compensating or overcompensating for any sort of injury that we've had in our body. We hold patterns in our body. There's fascia and muscles that remain tight, and our body wants to protect that injury. It wants to protect that spot. And so what happens is the fascia sort of clamp down. And this is why it can be really helpful to have body work, whatever kind of body work you like, massage, acupuncture, you know, self-massage, whatever you're comfortable with, to sort of move these things through your body. Craniosacral work, myofascial tissue release, all these things are going to help release some of these things. And it's totally normal to have muscle imbalance and to have things being pulled out of place. So like I'm teaching, but I'm in the trenches with everybody. This is all stuff that's totally normal. Like nobody goes through life without injury or without trauma. And so as we're going through these exercises, it's just going, hey, I'm in class, I'm doing Tai Chi. And if it's not perfect, I'm doing the best that I can and I'm going to relax. So do your checks of relaxation and alignment. Relax from the top down, right? Say it's, can I sync my energy? Relax from the top of my head down, relax my shoulders, relax my arms, my wrists, everything. Go through that as you're doing the postures. And instead of getting confused, you can just pick, I'm only checking relaxation this round. I'm only checking alignment this round. I'm only focusing on tucking my hips this round. So just rather than trying to do everything at once, pick 4 repetitions and focus on one thing. Pick and do this in your personal practice because it is a lot. I'm giving you guys a lot of details. And if you're ever feeling like it's too much in one lesson, give me that feedback and we'll dial it back a little bit. So let's run through some cloud hands. Go ahead and continue. I'm just going to change my angle. When you change your hands, palms face each other. So I'm just going to come a little bit closer to the camera. And the reminders that I'm going to give you is that for cloud hands, we're doing a lateral movement. Our feet are going side to side across the room. Okay, so cloud hands is lateral movement. And even if you have a small space, you can just do one side to side. And a lot of the benefit in cloud hands is the slow turning of the waist with your hands together. Hands together, upper body turns as one unit. Okay, let's do a few repetitions, a few more cloud hands, and this time let's just focus on our mental check on alignment. Let's focus on, are my hips tucked under as I'm moving my feet? And make these slow. Slow your repetitions a little bit. The slower we go, feeling like we're hardly even moving, the more time we have to do our little mental checks. Breathing out as you turn. Change your hands. The bottom hand comes up. Slowly turning your waist. Focusing on the reminder. Am I keeping my pelvis, my hips tucked under as I'm slowly shifting my weight and stepping? Are my shoulders relaxed? If you're ever feeling like your shoulders are shrugged up towards your ears, just remind yourself to drop them down. This time, let's do repetitions, and I'm gonna keep doing cloud hands. You guys can watch my movement on the screen, or you can follow along. But if your timing of your in breath and your out breath is a little bit different than mine, just focus this time on coordinating your movement with your breath. See if you can take one breath in and finish the posture. Take one breath out. See how long, smooth, and slow you can make your in breath and your out breath and coordinate it with your movement. So again, if your timing is a little bit different than mine, that's just fine. For me, this is my in breath. And out. Maybe you want to slow it down, breathing in as you change your hands. Breathing out. Breathing in. Out. Just experiment with how you can focus on timing your breath with your movement and still keep your muscles relaxed. Just experiment with your speed and your breath, finding a pace that's comfortable for you. Finding a pace where you're cycling through your in breath and your out breath with your movement. And just another reminder to tuck your hips under. Good, let's switch it up. Check the time here. Kind of take a few breaths. Let's do this same thing. I want you guys to kind of follow me at first. We're going to do Parting Wild Horses Bane. Follow me at first, but then kind of try to find a pace that's comfortable for you. This one is to the corner. You're going to have a bow stance to the corner when you finish. Parting wild horse's mane, rock back, hold the ball. Step up. Bow stance to the corner, switch your hands. Rock back, hold the ball. Step up. Bow stance to the corner, you're changing your hands slowly. Your bottom hand comes up from the inside. Parting wild horse's mane. This is a name, this posture, I think the name really makes sense for this one. Stepping up, parting your hands. Bow stance to the corner. Since this one is new, I'll run through this a few more times and demonstrate. Okay, so I'm in my, so remember from cat stance, I'm basically in a cat stance when I want to begin. My palms are facing each other. Shoulders and elbows are relaxed down. I'm not shrugging up. Step out, place my heel into a bow stance, shift, and open my hands. Rock back. You're turning, the point of rocking back is to turn your toe out so you can step up into a cat stance. Hands relaxed, palms face each other. Bottom hand comes up from the inside. Place your heel, shift your weight, and spread your hands. Rock back, turn your toe out. Hold a little ball here, palms face each other. Shift into your front leg. Step up into cat stance. Bottom hand comes up from the inside. Place your heel and your toe. Shift and open your hands. And then as I'm doing that, I'm also adjusting my back foot so that I'm in a bow stance, a true bow stance to the corner. Rock back, hold the ball, step up, change your hands, shift and open. Rock back, hold the ball, step up, step out, hands change, open as you shift. Bow stance to the corner. Cat stance to prepare. Finish with your bow stance to the corner. Cat stance to prepare. Finish with bow stance to the corner. Now try to follow along and coordinate your breath and just find that cycling through your in-breath and your out-breath, coordinating with when you're starting and finishing the posture. Breathing in, breathing out. For me, I breathe in on my preparation, and I breathe out as I finish. And we can make that even slower so that we have maybe an in-breath and an out-breath in the preparation and an in-breath and an out-breath on the finish. And a reminder to keep your hips tucked under as you're moving from cat stance to bow stance, from cat stance to bow stance, just remembering to keep your hips tucked under. So how does it feel when you're successfully keeping your hips tucked under as you're moving through these stances? It feels like your core is strong. It feels like you're stepping powerfully. It feels like your core is engaged. It feels like you might get a little stretch through your hip flexor here if your stance is wide and your hips are truly tucked under. You're going to probably feel a little stretch here. So the more in the cat stance, the more my hips are tucked under, the more I feel really secure in this leg. So, and you may feel that your knees are more bent if you're tucking your pelvis more, and that's fine. So it also feels like my low back is neutral or rounded and relaxed. And this may feel different for other people because our bodies are a little bit different and we have different muscle groups that are more tight or more relaxed, and we have different patterns in our bodies. But those are some of the sensations that I notice when I am successfully keeping my pelvis tucked under. There's more stretch through here. I feel my weight is really in my heel of this foot. So it can feel, if we have tight hip flexors because we're not used to keeping our pelvis tucked under, it can feel like a little bit of pressure and a little bit of a stretch through the front when we are practicing doing that. So it can feel a little weird, it can feel a little awkward, and it can feel like we're overdoing that tuck at first. It can also feel a little bit like you're squeezing your glutes, right? So like if you were gonna do a preparation for squats, right? So if we were gonna go through and do some squats, one of the things that they'll tell you for squat form is when you come up, you squeeze your glutes forward when you finish. So, and if you can practice a squat and you practice squeezing forward on your finish, you're gonna get that sensation of, are my hips tucked under? So, and it can feel really awkward at first, but just practice it, and it's totally normal to, if we've been in the same posture for a long time, if our resting posture throughout the day is not tucking our hips, we want to go back to what we're used to. So that's totally normal. It's just, that's part of the mental game with Tai Chi, part of that shifting our focus from worry into some of these reminders. That's kind of where, no secret, that's where some of the magic of Tai Chi is that we're really shifting our focus. We have a lot to think about. We have a lot to concentrate on. So how did that feel? And do we have any questions about today? Did that help? Did that help at all, or make you more confused or more clear? Okay.
It helped. It was a lot better trying to focus on just one of the things at a time than the other.
Yep. So in your personal practice, like I said, you can start really small, and you can, pick, if you want something to follow along, you can go through the email and pick, which postures you want to go through. If you want to go over today's lesson, just follow along. And then, literally, even in your mind, you don't have to be following along. You can just say, I'm going to do 4 or 5 cloud hands, or I like to pick even numbers, 4 or 8 or 12, whatever you want to pick. And just go through and focus on one thing at a time, because otherwise you can just make yourself more tense and more stressed trying to do everything at once. So, and that's sort of the magic in practice, is that we go through all these repetitions when we're focusing on one thing at a time. And that really becomes the moving meditation for us, because we have now picked something that we focus on, and it's not like, oh, did I take the dog out, or like they're gonna poop on the carpet, or did I remember to whatever, whatever things we have in our normal life, are the dishes in the sink that I have to do later, all this stuff that we pick to focus on and stress ourselves out about all the time. We're just shifting our focus. So really good questions. And so anything else any other questions, comments, or things we want to work on today? Good for now. Just a reminder too about the, and you guys can make a list, and you can literally write a little notebook list. One time I'm gonna focus on relaxing my jaw and my tongue position. One time I'm gonna focus on, are my shoulders down? You can literally pick just one body part at a time too, whatever makes sense for you, because trying to shift back and forth just does get stressful. So yeah, awesome class. Thanks for being here today. And as always, you can email me with anything, and we will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.